Technical difficulties.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. For those of you who were with us before, we had a little bit of technical difficulties that we have solved now. So thank you for sticking with us. We had just said hello to Allison Crary, our resident artist. Hello, Al.
Hello, and we are back, and we're going to have more glitches in the future. So we're figured it out. Everything's good.
Thank you. Thank you. So tell us what's going on today.
So we're going to draw these onion seedlings. And what's kind of cool about these is that we see them kind of poke out, and we have some kind of the texture in the soil that we're going to kind of bounce things off of. And we're going to get started. So yeah, if you want to say hi, we're just going to start right over here. I've got my journal out. I've got my pencil out. And I have it open to the entire spread. So we've got the spiral binding in the middle. I've got this one kind of divided into two, and then I've got a bigger one for over here. So this top square right here is set up for this one where we just have the little onion threads kind of poking through. And you can see there's this little seed kind of on top of the onions that I don't know if it's so easy to see from there, but we'll make sure we get it in. And then we're going to have our longer ones for this square right here. And then our longest onion threads right over here. And then I think what we're going to do a few weeks from now, we're going to check back in with Lori, and we're going to see the status of this plant 2 weeks from now, and maybe do a little thumbnail sketch of that, which I think would be really cool. But
that's
this
a really cool idea.
Yeah, right. And so this came from I think we sent out our spring with like the little seedlings coming out. So it's really cool that that's what we sent. And then one of our most loyal subscribers, Lori, sent us another one. And this is what we do as a group. So I'm really excited for it. So the drawings we've done before are very much, we kind of bounce them off the borders, which is a great way to draw, but you're not always going to draw like that. So in this case, we're just going to take a look at the relationships of the shapes against themselves and go from there. So starting with this one, there's the green onion threads kind of poking through here. And they're kind of centralized to the sort of center area of the picture plane. So I'm just going to kind of start dropping them in. This one kind of comes off the side here. So we've got this one coming in. We have this curly Q that kind of happens over here. I'm going to jump over, we'll get the rest of these in, but I'm going to jump over to here because I know I want to get these in over here. So these, we have two little curls. These two I'm throwing in that come over here. These four curly Qs, I'm going to drop in kind of against the top. And I just love how they kind of unfold sort of towards the sun. And then let's get these guys in. So again, these are just quick drawings that we're going to do. I've got a few stray marks I'm going to get rid of just for clarity's sake. We've got a few of these little knobs coming through down here. A few over here. And that's kind of as far as, oh, we got these guys in the middle here. So between these little curly Qs and these guys over here, we've got one, it's got kind of this seed that comes out and around this way. We've got one that pokes around this way. One thread that kind of comes up around here, and one that comes around here, and it's got the seedling that comes kind of around here. So that's kind of the status of this one. Some of these fun sort of water, they're in soil to collect water. We could drop in some of these guys if we want. We got this guy kind of coming in over here.
Oh, that's what those white things are. They're
I
in
think
the
that's
soil.
what they're for. I think they collect water. Does anyone know? Tell me, correct me. But I'm going to kind of drop those. And we aren't going super accurate because this is more of just sort of a study in kind of the status of the plant right now.
Yes.
And sometimes you draw this way. You don't always line things up with.
That's what I was just going to point out, was that our last drawing day together, we had the grids that we made and, you know, and whatnot. And this is way different. It's a different technique.
It's just a different technique. And because it's this, just because you learned that way and you have some success that way, you can draw that way forever and ever and ever. And it's a great way to learn. But sometimes you're just going to want to sit and draw. And that's kind of what we're doing today. I am going to kind of fill in the background soil. But I don't want you to think the only way you can draw is if you get a really disciplined picture and you make some markings and you work from there. You also sometimes kind of take a look at what's there, kind of look at just sort of the relationship of the shapes, and you get in kind of what's going on. So we're going to work all the ways here, and then you're going to draw. We might even do some contour line drawing, some of that good stuff. So I'm filling in my background here, and then I'm going to go back in and really kind of emphasize some of the outlines so everybody can see them. So this is one of my water, I'm going to call them water retainers. Like that. Here's this guy right here. Here's one of our first curly cues. Here's another one.
It's going to be interesting to learn how to show depth in this one.
Right, yeah. And so we're working very shallow, which is kind of exciting.
Yeah.
I really like botanical drawings that don't have a horizon line and you're just kind of in this space.
So these are green onions. That's really cool.
These are going to be onions. I don't know what kind.
I guess I made up that they were green.
Yes. Did we catch everybody after our?
I think so. I did a roll call. We said hello. Melinda Chu is back with us. I believe she was our Starbucks winner, right? From last night.
She was. Definitely.
Yeah. She's back with us. So is Cindy Lyle.
Excellent.
I imagine Julie Query's there. I haven't heard from her yet.
Yes. This way.
So right now, are you just paying attention to what's green and white?
I am paying attention to what's green and what's white and these kind of darker seedling areas. So let's get in our darks here. So this guy's kind of darker. Right around here. Right here.
We also got Cheryl Pasilio.
Welcome. Thank you for sticking with us. A little bit of tone to our greens. Maybe just a few flecks to sort of just put in some texture in the soil. That's a pretty, that's an indicator. What we have here is a decent indicator of what's going on here. And then we're going to move on because this is kind of about the progress and less about hitting this one. Exactly right.
Michelle Poor is with us. Just FYI, said hi,
Welcome, Michelle. Thank you for sticking with us. We work on these platforms that don't always tell us in real time what's going on. So, all right, we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on to this guy. And it got a lot more going on. And so I'm actually going to kind of say, okay, so we have a lot of activity going on over here and less over here. So I'm going to say this part of the drawing doesn't have really any growth in a literal sense. And we're going to start with some string action. I'm getting in this guy. I love how these unfold. So these loops have really grown. There's kind of two going on right here. This cluster right here. Coming back down here, and then we'll put in some of our water retainers. Down here, we have this loop here. They kind of remind me of bobby pins.
Yeah, they're the hairpin turns.
Hairpin turns. Another one right here. And then these are kind of ready to sort of shoot right out. Lori sent me some of, like, I think she sent me this in the afternoon of this. That's how fast these were shooting.
Oh, that's the same plant in an afternoon?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Some of these folds down in here.
It is really cool to work in a painting that doesn't have a horizon.
That's what, yeah, and we're just kind of, this is very gestural. We're getting everything in. I'm come up this way. We got some of these curly cues coming through. We got this guy over here that's like taken off. All right, so I've put in my basic shapes going in here. I'm going to scratch in some of our water retainers, for lack of a better word. I used to think they were styrofoam. I don't think they're styrofoam. I think they're similar in texture to styrofoam.
Yeah. And it looks like she's replenished it. Maybe it's food.
It could be. So dropping in some of these guys. And I'm going to do the same process. I'm going to fill in our background. And we'll spend the most time probably on this guy right over here. So we're establishing our, all right, our growth. So I'm going to go ahead and start just filling in the background. If anyone wants to share with us what some of their favorite templates are, what they've got, started out with, gotten going, we're interested. We're excited to announce our template challenge.
Yeah, we are. I tried, like, I won't tell them what it is, but I tried to do one myself the other night and it just didn't go well.
Yeah, and that's why, you know what? You flip the page.
That's exactly right.
You move on. All right, I got the background filled in. Now I'm just going to go back over and hit the perimeters with a little bit of a stronger line. Our little hairpins are peeking out. this way.
Lori's got a green thumb.
Oh yeah, and she does these really beautiful faces with so she gets all this really cool produce from these, right? And then she arranges it and cuts some of it, and she does these really expressive photography there. She makes like faces and
Wow.
gestures with her stuff. Yeah, it's so fun. We'll check back in with her as the summer goes on for her.
Is it similar to an edible arrangements?
I'd say kind of, but it's more for photography. Like it's just out and around. But yeah, it's cut and you'll have to see it. They're really cool.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got in kind of our shapes here. I go back in and sort of hit our little pebbles, maybe. Soil marks. Just like that. Put in some of the texture of plant that we backplant. I'm actually going to kind of erase some of the centers of these.
I actually had to do the same.
Just because we have a lot going on and I just want to hit, I want them to be a little bit more contrasty, stand out a little bit more. Just like that. So we're showing some progression here. And then I'm looking to see the seeds that were on some of these, where they are now. And this one, it's right here. They're really dark, so it's hard to see, but I want to make sure I get them in.
Oh, I just barely saw those. There's a little dark on some
of them. Yeah.
Now.
And then this one is right here. And then there's one over here. One down here. Just love watching these plants unfold.
Yeah, it happens. So it happens a lot quicker than you anticipate. It feels
good.
All
right, so we got this guy in, kind of like I think we leave that guy alone. And then we're going to move on to this one. And I've got my picture plane all set up.
Stuff is happening now.
Yeah. And I think this was Sundays. So this is how much these guys have grown in just a weekend's time. And what I liked about this is sort of the movement of the space. And as you can see, how these seeds are very much off the ground. It's looking like that. There we go. This one's up here, this one. So I think I'm just going to kind of figure out where I want to put these. So this collection of little sprouts, I'm going to put here. I'm going to go ahead and fold this over so everybody can see it. We go ahead and put right here. So I'm just going to kind of, this triangle here, I'm going to drop in right here. This guy is going to come in kind of right here. This one's going to come in right here. I'm going to make myself a line right here for where I'm going to drop these in. And then the rest of these kind of come up around this way and around this way. And so I made myself a little map where everything's going to kind of go. This grouping is going to go right here. This guy's going to go right here. This one's going to come around here. This grouping is going to go right here. These little guys are going to kind of go in this channel right here. And then these two are going to kind of go right there. So let's get drawing.
Let's do it.
This sprout comes up, around, and down. Got some curly cues here. These two right here and right here. This one starts at the bottom, comes up, and it comes back down, and then it has a seed that's coming right off of it right here. This one is actually kind of coming at you, all right? This is in the foreground. So it starts here, comes up and over this way. And seed comes out right there. This line I made myself right here is where kind of all of this is going to go. I'm going to start with this one that begins and ends right here. That comes down, and the seed is still kind of on the ground there on this one. Right here.
Do most of those green guys have little black seeds at the bottom that I'm not seeing?
I think they all, this is what the onion might, I don't actually know, but
Yeah.
that's part of it. This one's, it's kind of coming off here. So it's kind of coming up and around and coming around this way. And then it's got the seed kind of right here. This, so we got these guys in. Between here and here is this one. This guy comes up and kind of off the page this way. Behind it, it's got this guy. It's hopping around and down. All right, so, and then let's get this guy that's right here in. He kind of starts here, comes and curls back around like that. So we can try to check off the ones we've got in. We've got these in. We've got these in. We've got this one in going off the page. We've got this one, this grouping in. Let's get these guys in and back. So I'm actually going to start with these two, and then we'll work our way down. This one comes up, down, and it's got the seed going on right here. Like that. This one's going up, down. Seeds like that. There's this kind of curly cue right in front that will stick in right here. This one. Seeds over down here, so it's going to come up and over, and it probably starts somewhere over here, but we can't tell. This is this one. A couple little curly cues following it, so that's in place. This is in place over here. And then the last is kind of this cluster over here. We've got this one kind of does this thing right here. This one comes back around this way, twists over like this, and comes back around here. This one comes up and down. And this guy comes kind of up and over just like that.
Right.
So that's kind of our grouping. I don't know if we got in this one that just comes up and back down, but now we do. I'm gonna go ahead and fill. Well, let's go ahead and put in some of our pebbles water retaining nuggets. We got 2 going on here, 1 here, 1 right around here. This way. Few going on around here. This one right here. These guys set up nicely around here.
And so right now, are you just kind of like making sure that everything's
right? Yeah, I'm just dropping in some of these.
Okay. You're using distance from each other then.
Yeah, we're just kind of we're kind of dropping in versus where we were very, very careful about how everything bounced off the corners, which is a great way to learn. Now we're just kind of playing about where these shapes kind of exist in space from each other. Throw in some of these guys. I'm gonna fill in my background. Then I'm gonna kind of hit my contours again. And then we'll look at all 3 sort of as a collective and decide what decisions we want to make.
And all 3 of these are the exact same plant, right?
All the exact same plant.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so I'm excited to drop back in on this plant.
Yeah.
In a week or 2.
Same. You know, she does those baskets like you were mentioning. I wonder if some of the if Lee's Not the Veggies are organic and grown at her home.
I believe they are. They're real. It's really cool.
What a gift that is too to get from someone.
Yeah. Filling all these in.
Oh, I wanted to tell you too that Aunt Ruth is here.
Welcome, Ruth. Thank you so much for joining us and sticking with us through our technical difficulties.
I just want to say, I believe that Ruth is in Tucson and I'm in Tucson. So I hope you're enjoying the beautiful weather today, Ruth.
I've never been to Tucson. I would really love to go sometime.
We'll
all paint together whenever that wonderful day comes. Now that it's safer to travel and do things.
Yeah.
So I'm just filling in my background, getting stuff going. And as I'm doing that, I'm losing a little bit of what's in the inside. So I'm just kind of going in and taking it out. This will be our most finished drawing, this one right here. right, so I'm going to go in and just kind of define some of these lines a little bit more. Just like this. Hershey, what have your challenges been with this drawing? What can you share? That's
Well, I feel like until I have some color, I'm not going to be able to see it. That my drawing rendering isn't as accurate or isn't as realistic as I'd like it to be. So I know that the color is really what's going to change it. And
okay.
I actually want to talk to you about that. Like, do you find that sometimes your drawings, when you're drawing before you're going to paint, do you allow for your drawings to just not be so great if you know you're going to paint, or do you draw every time? Yeah.
Without a doubt. So yeah, so you just set different goals for all your projects, right?
Yeah.
And so in this case, we're just sort of capturing the movement and the energy and the life of these plants entering the world. Like that's what was so exciting. And we got them at different times and different junctures, and what a gift, right? And so I am not necessarily trying to get the light and shadow correct on these. It's not really incorrect, but there's no reason just because this isn't something we're going to get really organized about and get in very specific, like a very specific portrayal, we can still draw and learn and get a lot from a drawing like this. And then if you want to go and paint on top of it, or maybe do some ink or something like that, it's a very, there's that to do too. And so I'm excited to see, like, we're going to get this in with pencil. And if you want to pull out your paints and kind of fill in the green areas and maybe mix some brown, that'd be really cool. If you want to kind of go in and
make it a little abstract,
make it a little different. Yeah.
I think my 3 drawings they could be either a pot that is just about to sprout these onions, or it could be a petri dish with, like, yeah, it's ambiguous right now. So I think I will be putting paint to this later on tonight.
All right. Okay. I like it. All right. So I kind of got everything in there. And so we have these 3. And I'm looking, and if I want this to kind of be one whole piece, I think I'm going to go in, I'm going to make the background is kind of on mine. The dirt areas aren't quite as defined in some of these other ones. Darken some of these areas. Or should we try? I know we told everyone not to get out their paints, but should we mix some color and see what?
Well, you know what you could do, which I think would be helpful if anybody who after the stream wants to get to painting, show us some, because that green's really bright. And there's going to be some blacks and browns going on. And so, like, how to get a black and a brown that aren't too similar so that they'll look really great when we paint with them.
All right, let's get out some color. All right, I'm going to get some water. I'll be right back.
Okay. So guys, you don't need to get out your paints, but Allison's going to get out hers, and she's going to show us how to make that vibrant, almost neon green. I don't know how we're going to do that. And also how to paint those blacks and browns in there so that they don't all run together and just kind of look like a big off black.
So we got some water. I've got our colors out. Here's kind of a clean palette, and
kind of clean as long as they're dry.
Yeah. And let's see, here's a good brush, a couple good brushes for what we're doing. All right. So first thing, let's go for a brown. So I'm gonna start with our yellow, medium yellow. Remember, browns are warm. And I didn't know I was gonna do this, so we'll see what we get, right? So I'm gonna start with a medium yellow. And I think I'm gonna go with some vermilion. So I'm gonna put a touch of that in there. Let's mix this guy up. Good looking orange. Definitely still a red orange, even with how much more yellow we had in there. And I am gonna reach now for our blue deep. And I'm just gonna take a little bit of this and add it in here and see what we get. There's a brown for you.
There it is, okay.
Put some of this over here. Add a little bit more blue to it. A little bit darker. Let's add some rose madder to that and see what we get. And that's our cooler red. A little bit more of a rust brown. Add a little more blue. Let's add a little blue to that. See what we. It's a good looking brown. Bring close to what we have.
Yep. That's a really good brown.
All right, let's see if we can make this again. All right, so I think we started with some vermilion and some yellow. We made kind of this orange. And then we added a little bit of the deep blue. And we're closer to this color. But this was kind of our base. And then we added some of the rose madder.
So cool.
And we got this kind of rustier brown color. And we went back in with some blue deep, little by little. And we got this kind of great medium brown.
There we go. All right. So
looking
just,
brown.
You know, I tried to keep up with you, and the color that I'm making is more of a green. Can you just run down that list for me really quick?
Sure. The reason you got a little bit of a green is because this is very yellow. And when you added some blue to it, it got greener because this looked very yellow. That's okay. Add some rose madder.
Okay.
And that should go kind of a rusty brown. Let me know when you get rust.
Okay.
And then take some deep blue off to the side and little by little start adding it in and you're gonna get this kind of chocolate brown.
All right. Yep, I'm there. Thank you.
You there?
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's just go ahead and try and again, for demonstration's sake, let's paint some of this guy in. Wasn't the plan. We change it up here. I'm going really, really light. That's one of the nice things about acrylic paint is that you can do kind of a watercolor technique with it as well as a really rich, opaque, layered. But I'm going really loose with these guys.
Yeah, Allison, we should sometime this week or next week we should do our like our brush care video. Just be you
Yes.
the video out there.
I'm gonna complain. I am not the greatest about brush care, but it's not because I don't know how. So maybe even a worse offense.
It's not for lack of knowledge.
Not for lack of knowledge. So I will go ahead and share with everyone. All right, so there's that. I'm gonna mix up some green. So I'm gonna go, we have some blue on the table. So generous dollop of yellow. A little blue. Get that going. That's awfully close. It's the green we were going for. Get out my white. Just for opacity's sake, I'm gonna put a little bit of white in our mix. Just like that.
That's looking cool.
Good looking green.
Yeah.
And this is where we go through, and I say it every single day, and you can't say it enough. It is easier to pull a line than it is to push a line. And I think we got a request a couple weeks ago about how to do a really fine line. Right. And I will show it to you.
There's a fine line tutorial.
Yes. It's kind of a fine line painting. And you want just the tip, just the top, the tippy top fibers of your brush. Get it nice and wet. And with a certain degree of movement, drag just those fibers around the contour of what you'd like to paint. Just like that.
You sharpen the brush at all? That's what I put. That's what I told the subscriber because it was.
That's a great thing to do. So to identify your outermost fibers, take it between your two fingers, thumb and pointer finger, I guess.
Yeah.
Sharpen your brush just like this. Dip that, just the tippy top, into your paint. Yeah, this is even tighter. Good call, Hershey.
There you go.
And drag out that line. Hershey, you were talking about how we need to get to more of a black.
Yeah.
So I'll do that next. So this brown we mixed right here, we're going to add a substantial amount of blue to that and see what we get. And I think we're going to get something kind of wrong blue. Closer to a purple.
And if you look at your chart, your color chart, brown is opposite of what would you say?
Well, brown is a warm neutral.
Okay.
And so
Well, neutral would be its opposite.
Yeah, and so in this case, this had a lot of red in it, so I added a substantial amount of blue. So I got this kind of dirty blue. And to offset that, because I want this to be kind of a rich, dark purple, I'm going to add in some more of our cool red, which is our rose madder, and blue and red make a purple. And hopefully we get this really kind of dirty purple, which is going to kind of serve as our black. Yeah, look at this. Look at this eggplant.
Yeah, that's a good color. It's beautiful.
So I'm going to use this. Sharpen our brush again.
When mentioning brush care, Chelsea Nicholson chimed in and she said that she just leaves them in the jar full of water and her husband comes along and takes care of them for her. So that's her
God
routine.
bless him. That's fantastic. I don't have one of those. And
yeah,
so
me either.
you know, one of these days, Hershey, you and me.
Yeah.
So
I'll tell you, my current brush care is I wash it, or I put it in the water, I rinse it, I dry them off, and then I hope for the best.
That's one way to do it.
Yeah.
So there we go. There's kind of our dark seeds.
Yeah. The seeds, and there's a lot of dark in the soil.
There's a lot of dark in the soil.
Would you recommend for painting this, you would start with the green and then do the black afterwards?
So I just kind of wanted to show everybody kind of how everything shakes out. There's a few different ways to do it. I would definitely get the background filled in. I agree, this is a good one to paint, even though that wasn't necessarily the plan of the day. It's where this went. Bless you.
Thank you very much.
This in. I just love it. I love it when sometimes you get to sort of see nature's work. And when you get to see just how an onion unfolds from the ground, I think is a really fun, cool thing.
Yeah, you're 100%.
To get to do and to get to kind of capture.
There's a poem that I'm going to track down, hopefully, and then post into the group. It was from a book that I read as a kid, and the poet was describing the way, let's say an onion sprout, like burst through the ground. It was making comparisons to how a rocket ship takes off.
Oh, cool.
Right. And at the end, it's kind of interesting because when it describes the moment that it shoots through the ground and now it's in space and it's getting all this air, it's getting the sunlight. It talks about how nobody even applauds. But like a rocket ship take off, everybody's there to watch it. And this is the same thing. And it happens without anybody's help on its own. It happens a million times a day and no one even applauds. It's kind of cool.
Wow. Yeah. Well, and so maybe these little paintings that we're doing and drawings that we started with, our kind of our time for our subscriber group. Applause
Yes.
to spring and to nature. And so I'm just adding in a little bit more texture to the ground here, some brown. That we mixed up. And we're sorry that we ended up mixing paint when we said we weren't going to. And we weren't prepared because we told you didn't need it. But sometimes that's, you know, when you take requests, which is how our Go Beyond Day, Go Beyond the kits, Go Beyond what we sent you looks like.
And this is going beyond. You didn't know what you were doing beforehand, neither did anybody else. Like, that's pretty cool.
And part of art is being spontaneous, is seeing kind of where things take you and what you want to do next. And so we do some really planned detail paintings, but we also kind of do some of this kind of thing.
Yeah. I was gonna say, so the template challenge that we have for everybody at home that we want you guys to think about, start working on submissions in the subscriber group or to us, however you want to get them to us, is Allison, do you want to go over it? Do you want to tell what it is?
Baby animals. Do anything with a baby animal.
Yes.
So for our challenge, and it's we're gonna pick a winner the final week. So you've got a couple weeks to do it. Use one of the baby animal templates. You can use it with a different one. You can combine them, but we want to see what you do with the baby animal. It can be the mama and the baby. It can be just the baby, but
you know, I would say as one of the judges, I would say bonus points for using more than one template together, or you know, or is that's not this week, is that?
Well, it doesn't matter. I think, you know, Hershey's one of the judges, and if that's how he's judging, then yeah, you know.
Yeah. You know, like I'm looking at here, like the giraffe could be eating some of the grass for, you know, like there's so much to do.
There's so much to do.
Yeah, and we even have some, if those are green onions that we're doing today, we even have some green onion template.
Oh, yeah.
You know, good to do.
I don't know what kind of onion these become. So.
Yeah, the same.
So, all right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm going to just keep painting here. And
yeah, I'm going to get the painting. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to get the rough estimate recipes for both that green and that brown and that black that you might need if you're going to paint.
Oh, Hershey, that'd be awesome. Yeah.
So thank you guys so much for joining us today. And don't forget that, or don't miss out on Wednesday, the 16th, when we go live again, where we're actually going to paint that swan. And and if you are going to be able to join us, if you check out your handy calendar that we went out in this box this month, it'll let you know that for Wednesday, to get ahead of the game, go ahead and already have that swan traced onto one of your larger canvases, and we will see you guys on Wednesday. Bye, yes. Allison.
Bye. Thank you so much, Hershey.
See ya.
Yeah. See you Wednesday.